Hi guys, it's me, Mrs. Hayward again. I'm currently now in Bertie's room because I was outside and then a ladybird bit my foot. Who even knew they could bite? Anyway, I thought this would be a good moment to talk about lighting when it comes to DNA. So with our lights, we've got various types, haven't we? We have a flood light, which is like a massive light, and that washes the stage with colour. So you could have, for example, like a warm white floodlight, you could have a green floodlight. So if you want like loads of your area washing with light and colour, you would use a floodlight. We also have a Parcan, which lights up areas of the stage, and it also stops our actors being a particular lighted up colour. So for example, if you've got a green flood, all your actors are going to look kind of green, and that's great if you're going for like a weird Halloween vibe, but we're not. So if you use some white Parcans, then it just picks them up and we can see their natural colour. So that'll be good. You've also got profile lights, and a profile creates a spot and like a spotlight. So you could either have that like a really tight circle, or you could have it kind of fuzzy around the outside, so it's like a soft focus, we call that. So that's really nice as well. And you could use that, for example, when like Adam comes back, so you're sort of picking him out to be slightly different, and like we want the audience to focus on him, so that would be a really good one to use then, wouldn't it? We've also got Fresnels. If you think of it as being spelled as Fresnel, then that will help, but it's pronounced Fresnel. And you can use barn doors on those. Barn doors are like little flappy bits that go in front of the light, and you can make it into a square, which is quite cool. So like you're boxing them in almost. And again, a bit like a Parcan, that just gives sort of like general areas of light. So that's quite a nice one to use as well. So they're sort of like your four main types that you're going to use. You could also use what we call specials, and these give a special effect. So for example, you could have like a special in the street light, for example, that like flickers. You could have a special in a maybe the group are making a campfire, you could have it like a special that is inside, and inside the fire, and it like glows and stuff, and it's quite cool. You could also have a lighter, which is just like a normal lighter, but it's like a special because it's a special effect. You could have torches as well. So loads of different types of lights. Don't forget as well, we can also use projections too, and this is where either a still image or a video or a painting or anything is projected onto something. Now this could be a wall, or this could be a cyclorama, which is basically like a thin white muslin cloth type thing, like a gauze, and that could either go, you know, if you've got an in the round stage, maybe you could have that behind your audience, and so like the audience kind of like surrounded, or if you've got a traverse, again it could go like all around the audience, which is quite cool. Or if you've got a proscenium arch, it could go at the back. So lots of different options there. And remember too that projections can be used for set as well, which is quite good. So we've got that. And then we've got intensity. So intensity is how bright or how dark something is. So 100% intensity is obviously really, really bright. 0 intensity is dark. There's nothing, you can't see anything. So think about how intense you want something. We've also then got the focus that I briefly mentioned earlier. So this is how sharp or how soft you want something. So if you've got a hard focus profile light, it means it's really clear and like you can see the clear line around it. But if you've got a soft focus, it's kind of like fuzzy, which is quite cool. We've also got gels, or also known as LEDs. So nowadays, most stage lights tend to be LEDs, and that means that you can change the colour at the press of a button. But in the olden days, we used to have something called gel. And this is basically like a heat-proof plastic that you put in front of your light, and it changes the colour. But you'd often have to have someone up there manually, like literally changing them. So you can use gel, so you can say straw-coloured gel, lavender-coloured gel, dark green gel, or you can say LED. It doesn't make a difference because it's just, you know, ultimately it'll give the same effect, but you know what I mean. You've also got gobos as well, which are small cylinder cutouts, and the light shines through them and projects a shape. So you can have quite simple ones like some leaves or something, or you can have quite ornate ones, but they're all cutouts and they could move potentially. So you could have something where the light itself is moving, which is quite cool. So different things we might use lighting for. You might use it for location. So we've got the street, we've got the field, and we've got the forest. You might use it for time of day. So is it going to be daytime? Is it going to be nighttime? Is it going to be like dusk? And we got it for atmosphere as well. So if you've got quite a stressful, dark atmosphere, if you've got a bright, happy atmosphere, which to be honest is really unusual in DNA, then that's going to affect your lighting choices too. Now you do need to think about the fact that, is it going to be naturalistic in design? So if you're doing naturalistic lighting, that means you're not going to have a red strobe, because red strobes are not naturalistic, unless you're like in a nightclub, which you're not because you're not old enough. But that's not the point. So if you are doing a non-naturalistic design and you want some funky lights, you're going to have to say that you're designing it in a non-naturalistic way, or you're using symbolic lighting to portray the themes. That's totally fine, as long as you're showing the examiner that you understand that the lighting choices that you're making are not naturalistic. Does that make sense? So for your big mark questions, you need to make sure you're giving your lighting choices on specific lines. So what's the line? What's the lighting choice, okay? And why are you making that choice? So imagine that I'm the one that's pressing the button and I'm trying to figure it all out. What line do you want me to do which thing, and why, okay? Because I'm really stubborn, and unless you tell me why, I might do something else. So make sure you go through the extract and you tell me exactly what it is you want and when, and be specific. So don't just tell me I want a white light. Okay, well, I'm going to put all the house lights on because you've told me white light. Whereas actually what you mean is a profile light. Oh, that's another thing that we didn't talk about. Angles. So I know that you know about this anyway, because we talked about this in quite a lot of detail in class, but think about your angle. So if you've got something that's lit from above, like a profile that's lit from above, the audience can see the beam of light, and that is a very specific choice. So again, you might use that when Adam comes back. If you've got a light lit from the front, it just means that your actor is nicely illuminated, you can see them. If you've got a light that's lit from below, so like down there up, it will create a really big sort of ominous shadow. That could be quite cool for Phil or for Kathy. Maybe you might want to choose, you know, how to light your actors. If you're doing fairly naturalistic designs, you could potentially choose who has the most status at that point, at that part of the play, and uplight them accordingly to make their shadow like stand out. I hope that makes sense. Okay, over and out.